Hey, welcome back to another Print UV moment. And we are living in the moment right now because I have a live guest with me. I've got Gary Doman of GEW. What's happening, Gary?
Hi, Warren. How's tricks? How's things?
Oh, tricks are turning. It's great.
Good. Well, it's nice to. I'm trying to think when we last talked about Print UV because we missed a couple of years.
You
So
know,
it's
actually, I think it was on Friday.
yeah, but when we had the last Print UV, when was the?
Yeah,
Yeah,
about two
no,
years ago.
yeah, about 2 years ago. Yeah, so we did that then. It's 2 years. Wow, it's flown. But here we are
And
again.
and
Yeah.
you haven't aged a bit.
No, thank you. And I can't say the same for you. But anyway,
That's why
but
I'm having a bad hair day
but
today. So
yeah, but it's nice. It's nice that to be looking forward to it again. I must say it's a great event, as we all know, and of course it'll be a slightly different event, I think, this time round, which I'm sure that you'll want to maybe discuss a little bit. But no, I'm looking forward to it, and this time Rob Ray will be coming over, which I think he last time he was there was 2018
ooh, so he's got
actually.
to buy everybody drinks then.
He has, yeah. So it's been a while, and I think the things have changed a little bit around the industry. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having those discussions that we always do all together, and what on what's new, which we always find something new, don't we? Always.
Yeah, no, it's we are 21 days away from the greatest show on earth. And when I say that, I don't mean because it's a circus. I do mean the greatest show on earth. I've never been to a conference, and I say it all the time, but I'll say it again. I've never been to a conference where everybody is so friendly in an industry that's so competitive. And especially when you're talking about UV. And if we go back to the old days when UV was would make you sick, or so they used to joke about it, it's not like that now. But UV is really expensive to get into, and if you're on the print side like I was, what a place to go if you want to learn quickly, right? You're not going to learn other people's secrets because that's proprietary stuff. But other than
Yeah,
the secret stuff they're working on, everything else is in the open. So the
yeah,
inks you're using and how you run and the presses and the lamps and what kind of lamps you're using and how long they're on or how long they're not on, powder, no powder, cleaning how you clean your systems or don't clean your systems.
yeah,
The guys from the big companies, never mind the suppliers like yourself who are awesome, but a lot of the other attendees that are from other companies that are some of the large ones, they share information on things that they do. Again, not proprietary stuff, but the general stuff. And what you could learn, priceless, priceless. But
yeah,
before we
yeah.
go on and talk about the greatest show on earth, another big moment and the biggest moment of this show is in this show, we're going to be honoring our friend Hans Uland, who unfortunately is no longer with us. But he was, not to take anything away from Steve, but Hans was the driving force before making Print UV happen.
Yeah.
So at the very least, come and raise many glasses with us, when we remember everything that Hans did and what he does and what he wants us to continue doing in his honor. But let's go back to the supplying thing. As a supplier, you guys have been there for a long time, and for that, we're
Yeah,
forever grateful.
yeah, sure.
But what are the best moments for you?
Well, you just mentioned Hans there. We worked closely together the last few years, Hans and I, and with GW. So, yeah, we're going to miss him. But no, I think, for me, always the outstanding, something you mentioned just a moment ago, and I was watching avidly your chat with DJ. And I think it's something DJ said. What's nice about Print UV? What's really cool is that you know, it's one of those places, probably the only place where you go where there's a room full of, competitive companies, ourselves and, IST and all those other folks, and our lovely clients and end customers that yes use the equipment in anger. But what's really lovely is that, the bit that always sticks in my mind is everyone there shares that information. Um, there doesn't seem to be that competitiveness as you would find, say, in an exhibition. So those customers that do come can talk to us, talk to another supplier, and and I think DJ said it. No one's tried to sell really actively,
Well,
and
actually, I'm gonna just stop you for 1 second for anyone
yeah,
listening.
Yeah.
If you're a sponsor, you're coming to teach. You're not allowed to put on a commercial and sale,
Correct.
right? That's the bonus,
Or,
and that's the way it's always been. And that's one of the things that Hans and
yeah.
Steve wanted. You come to help us,
Yeah.
not to sell us.
You know what, Warren? That's absolutely right. And I remember Hans being very clear with us about that. And you're right. And that's probably what's really comfortable about that environment is that we're all talking openly. There's customers there that need help, maybe want to pass on. Not only are they there to learn, but we can learn from them. These guys are doing some fantastic things. And so there's a lot of passing of information to and fro. And I think that's the nicest sort of thing and of course, being in the bar after, of course, but
I have no idea what you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah, but it's that lovely openness of sharing information. And when I've stood next to a competitor talking with, end users, we're talking together about, a subject, a given subject. And didn't feel that there was any competition between us. It was just a nice conversation about UV and LED UV. And I think what you say is right. It's not a place where you go to sell, and I don't think customers go there to buy. They go there to learn and we to hopefully share information that we have. I think it's really important. It's
I
one of
think
the
I
few.
think most
Yeah.
people go. I go for the drinks. That's originally why I
Well,
went.
obviously.
Gotta give a shout out to the B bar on the first floor level, where we own the bar for 2 days. But
Very
no,
nice. It's very nice.
all kidding aside, it's
Yeah.
like buying a car, right? You go around to different car dealerships and you learn about the cars.
Yeah.
When you have a couple car guys in the same room,
Yeah.
everybody wants something different to begin with,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
really know who wants what until you're talking.
Mm.
But what I like the most about it, and aside from the drinks, all kidding aside, is the people that you meet. And it doesn't matter who you meet. When you build that relationship with them, I know that I've left PrintUV, gone back to the shop. We've had some issues. And then I've gone and picked up the phone and called one of the other print fellas that I met there to say, hey, have you ever had the problem? Can I speak to somebody?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what? That really is, if you break it all down, what's life about and why are we on this planet? Like,
Yeah.
we're here to live, to prosper, and to help one another.
Yeah, and I
So
think the industry is still. I think the industry has always been that way, quite frankly, and I think in that environment, well, it
in
depends.
some environments, but
Yeah,
yes.
and I think certainly at Print UV, and it is, as I say, it's not like you say, it's not like any other. And I wouldn't call Print UV a show. I don't know what you call it really, but it isn't like an exhibition. It isn't like that at all. It's the opposite of that. But I do think that I learn as much. I mean, some of the some of the customers there, and DJ is a classic. I refer to DJ because I watched him recently with you. But some of the things these guys are doing, really, we can all learn from that, and maybe it makes us better as well. But it's a great chance and it's fun. It's just nice to be with a bunch of like-minded people, actually, as well.
Well, what's really cool is there's a good percentage of the people that keep coming back. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's like, I think we're on
yeah,
year 16. So it's
yeah,
year 16 of, or just every other few years of just everyone hanging and seeing each other again. So,
yeah, yeah,
what a great get
yeah,
together. What a great feeling.
yeah. And actually, I know.
The energy level in the
Yeah,
room, right? It's one of the, and what actually I'll just point out, another thing that Steve's really good at, because we also has Imagine AI, another conference that we do, but these are single track conferences. So they're keeping you in the room, they're keeping you at the table, everyone together the whole day. We're eating
yeah,
together because meals are included. And by keeping everyone together, you're flowing together. There's people who leave the room. You got to go to the bathroom every now and again,
yeah,
and
sure.
you get a little
Yeah.
tired of sitting. But for the most part, really, I don't know another conference like that.
No, no, I don't think there is. No, there isn't actually, and it is that as well that you say that keeping it. And I know Hans was really strong on that, putting on a good spread. Making it sociable, so as much as sociable event as well, which I think it is. It's a lot more than that, of course. But I think this year I noticed that we're talking about embellishment. I see that Kevin Kevin
Oh,
Abergel
yeah,
is going
that's
to
a
be
good
there.
good point.
I think talking about embellishment, and which brings in the digital side of the industry, which I think from memory, I'm not sure that the digital production played such a part in print UV, but it will this year, which is
Well,
great.
so I'll tell you why we're having digital embellishment,
Yeah,
and really because it is up and coming.
yeah,
For a lot of the markets that are served by a lot of the attendees, like the pharma, nutraceutical, luxury market, where they're doing high volume with embellishments,
yeah,
um, it's the it's going to sound kind of funny, but it's the large printer that now has to adopt a little bit of a small printer mentality, in the sense that they're going to do some short run. But the reason for the digital embellishment and with the big companies is, the embellishment companies that make the equipment, everything, they're telling us from the information they get and the surveys done that a lot more of the big brands want to do some personalization. They want to do more of the embellishment. The problem is, for the smaller printer, they're never going to have the opportunity to do it with those big brands, because they're just not in those big brands. There's a whole setup when you deal with, let's take pharma for instance. You don't just get into pharma, right? There's all this accreditation and GMP and all that other stuff. But for the company that's selling pharma, they could set up a small room and put in a Scodex, and they could put in a whatever digital press that they want, and the pharmaceutical companies will use them because they have the processes, right? And if
yeah,
I think of the big cosmetic companies, they're not going to little printers for them to test their blacks and all the other stuff. So the big companies need to be there now to service smaller changing orders with the big guys, right? Or they're going to lose out on
yeah. That's
that.
good. No, I
So
think
it's
that's very true. Yeah, I mean, you need to be a vast company like most of these big printers are. These big packaging printers are. Those the large ones. They need, you need to be that size to be able to service those big pharma guys. But of course, like you say, there's more specialization coming in. So there's a need for those larger companies to be able to offer that bespoke finishing services. And I think it's very interesting that the embellishment side's coming in. But actually, I was thinking about this before I was actually we were going to talk last week. But when you look at the subject of UV, LED, UV, and curing, you know, um, we're involved now, and I'm sure other UV curing manufacturers are now in not just in the graphic arts. So when I think about print UV, who should come to print UV? Perhaps you can broaden the audience more, because we see ourselves where there's in other areas of manufacturing, like floorball manufacturing and things like this, where
we used to print on our UV press floorings,
yeah, yeah,
right?
and there's a lot changing, and there's other things I can't mention, but there's other industry that
Sorry,
uses.
what can't you mention?
I can't. There's a particular company I
Just
can't
thought I'd
mention.
try. Just thought I would try.
Now, but what's interesting about it is that they are moving from UV to LED UV. They're looking at ways of producing the let's say the material more efficiently. And I think print UV perhaps maybe well, I know what Steve's thoughts are. I don't know what Hans would say if I was saying this, but it's probably something to shut up. But I think there's a broader audience interested in LED and UV curing that isn't just, and I say limited, but I mean, in broad terms, limited to the graphic arts industry as well.
Well,
So I
you
think,
know what? I'm going to suggest that you put that thought in our comment box, which
oh
I'll
well,
build before the show
oh
because we
well,
don't have one yet.
oh
And
well.
I'll have Steve read it, and then
is,
he
is
could
there a,
have a
is there
look
a
at it.
prize? Is there a prize?
There's always a prize. Uh, it's a
No,
double vodka soda
yeah.
with twist of lime,
I
right?
think, but as I say, I think it's a great chance just to meet. And what's lovely is you meet all your friends. These guys become your friends and colleagues, and I think that chance to share information, learn something. Once again, things are changing more in the industry as well. I think it's great. It's well, we're platinum sponsors. Well, I think we'll sponsor it for as long as it exists. We'll sponsor it, quite frankly.
And we'll hold you to that. So that's good. But
I'll talk to Rob. Yeah,
so I'll just add, like, before we get off, that you never know what comes from where you go, right? You don't know what you learn. You don't know what you see. You don't know what opportunity you're going to have.
yeah,
The only thing that I've learned in life is this. And my analogy is like fishing. You can't catch fish on the couch. So you got to get up and go, and it doesn't matter what the weather is. If the rod's not in the water, there's no chance of a fish.
sure.
If you don't go to PrintUV, you're not going to learn or know any more about UV or broaden your range and horizon on it, what's coming, what is. You could possibly be losing the opportunity on the next great thing that you could have learned if you didn't go. But if you do go, then you have a better chance of learning something and catching something new than the people who didn't. I
think
love
that's
putting
true.
fishing and everything I do
I
together,
know you
right?
do. Well, you're a great fisherman, but the other thing about that is, of course, is that I think all of with the colleagues from my side of the fence, supplying curing systems, is that still, I get customers from all over the world, asking about, well, what is, still today, what is LED UV? So there's still much to learn and much for end users to learn about that part of the business, but that's just a small thing. So, print UV, I think for as long as there's UV and UV curing, there should be print UV, because if it's not the question about LED UV, which is, still mature product now, but still developing, it's developing a lot. And the way that these things work have come a long, long way in the last 5 years. Who knows what the next 5 years will bring? Who knows?
Well, I'll just say, because then we're going to end it, because maybe people aren't going to make it to the end. But, when I got in, it was all conventional.
Mm,
And it was Hans and Steve who started talking about the LED and going to Japan and doing all of that.
yeah.
And, I'd like to say that they invented it. I don't know for
Mm.
sure that they did, but we'll give them the credit, because
Yeah,
why
they
not?
do.
But if you fast forward,
Yeah.
everybody's in this LED mode,
Mm. Yeah, that's
right?
true. Well,
So
just on that, because Hans was a dear friend. Steve and Hans, whilst they didn't invent it, in case you get any complaints, Mr. Werbitt,
I don't
what
care who
Hans,
complains to me. I don't listen.
what I would say about Hans and Steve is they in the early 2000 the early 2000 teens is they made LED UV through AMS a household. They made LED UV curing available to the masses, and I take my hat off to Hans for doing that, and to Steve, that they made that market. They really did.
Oh, I totally agree. And they brought us all together, so it's great.
Yeah, and they did that too. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
On
All
that
right,
note, we're going to jump. We're going to see each other in 21 days.
we will.
And
Sure.
look forward to seeing you and everybody
Yeah, you
else.
too.
Everybody else,
Yeah.
if you made it this far, man, thank God and thank you, because I don't know if I would have made it this far. If you made it this far, you're coming to Print UV, then hit me up and we'll have a drink together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just keep watching the stuff, read up on UV, Print UV, check it out. If you really want to go, reach out to me. I might have 1 or 2 discount codes left. Maybe. Anyways, everybody, Gary, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Everybody else who listened, thank you so much. And we will see you all Print UV March 8th in Las Vegas. Cheers.